All righty. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Oviedo City Council CRA Governing Board meeting. It is 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 23rd. This meeting has been continued from Monday, August 20th. And, staff, I realize that we're spoiling you all now with air conditioning, but it is much more comfortable in here now than it was Monday at about 6 o'clock. So good call on moving the meeting. We have 6 members present. Councilman Henkin will not be here for the CRA meeting. He will be here for this evening's meeting. So at this time, our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from July 16, 2018. I'd like to entertain a motion to do so.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion?
Looks good.
Good.
Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor of the motion to adopt the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along, we're up to item number 2, which is, what is this thing? This is the budget for fiscal year 18-19. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pierre. Woo, hot mic. What we have before us now is the draft budget for fiscal year 18-19. At the July 16, 2018 CRA meeting, the Governing Board directed staff to prepare the fiscal year 18-19 CRA budget resolution for action by the CRA Governing Board. This memo recaps the budget items that were discussed. The budget items discussed include the Wood Street extension, the implementation of Oviedo on the Park, the Center Lake Park project, Financial Department Support Services, Residential Improvement Grant Program, Facade Grant Program, supporting stormwater and roadway realignments and improvements, supporting public art programming, and CRA administration. The subtotal for the fiscal year 18-19 budget is approximately $712,000. This allocates or provides for an estimated reserve for contingencies and other capital projects of approximately $244,200. The proposed total CRA budget is $956,000 and $956,200.
Great.
The motion before us today is to approve the adopting resolution number 111-18.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Can I get a motion on the table so we can go into discussion?
So moved.
Let me rephrase. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the fiscal year budget for 18-19, resolution number 111-18.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Councilman Pollack, you have the floor.
I looked over the budget, and I know that in the last year when we were working on the budget, we had a lot of discussion about the implementation of Oviedo on the Park for debt service. But given that the budget or the total revenues this year have increased significantly, and we have $244,000 for reserves or for other capital projects, and also given the state of the budget for the city, right now I think that for this year's budget, I want to continue with that implementation. Other than that, the rest of the items look great. I look forward to seeing them all come, all get put in place this next year.
Deputy Mayor, anything to
Not much, but I would have a question maybe on protocol. The reserve amount, that could be used for anything within the CRA itself?
It can be used for anything that has been identified in the CRA plan within the CRA boundaries. Yes, sir.
Within the CRA plan, okay, because I was thinking maybe there's an opportunity to start maybe a conceptual study for a senior center down by the post office. I don't want to make that motion right now, but it's just want to plant the seed that maybe we can start that process earlier than later.
Okay. Would you like to see that as a discussion item at a following meeting?
Sure.
Is there consensus of the board?
Yes. Yes.
All right. There you go, John.
Yes, sir.
Deputy Mayor, anything else on the budget?
No, I'm fine.
All righty, I'll go off to the right. Why don't I go all the way down to the end, and then we'll work our way to the left. We'll start with Tim.
I have nothing.
Dave?
I'm going to bring up again the implementation of Oviedo on the Park. I just want to point out that the memo we received in 2017 from Jennifer Crockett related to the question of can we expend sums at this point on those particular projects that are no longer in the budget. And the answer was yes, but that wasn't really my question. My question was, could we expend funds on debt service? So this is not really a line item for implementation of Oviedo on the Park. It's a line item to service debt that was taken on by the City Council, not the CRA, for a project that the CRA could not legally fund at the time. So I think we're reaching back and doing something that's questionable, even if it's legal, and I don't know that I believe it's legal. And I will tell you that I have a piece of a presentation from the Florida Redevelopment Association that was given in front of the City of Jacksonville that basically says, be careful with substitution of CRA funding for city, county duties and projects done previously by them. So I just think we have to be very cautious here, and obviously that's subject to how the vote goes. With respect to that figure, and I believe that your budget folks can adjust this if the funding does proceed for this, the share of that loan for Oviedo on the Park was 67%, and I think the debt service amount changes from year to year, so there would have to be some, if this item proceeds in the budget, some minor correction to it. If you could respond to that just for a minute.
Yes, Mr. Axel brought to our attention that the 67% share this year is really $252,000 and change in lieu of the $257,000. When we had originally computed the number, we did it on the whole loan, but as most of us know, the amortization year to year can fluctuate a little bit. So we didn't make up for that annual fluctuation, and we just went against the entire loan when we calculated the amount. So we can definitely adjust the amount down to the actual that's needed to pay the actual debt service this year. But as a note, we underpaid last year, because last year we should have asked for $258,000 in additional money. So it goes up and down every year. So, but he's absolutely right.
We're not going to try to recapture $1,000 from last year, are we?
That's up to you.
All right, thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
I'm sorry, any other questions from Mr.
No, I don't.
No.
Does anyone?
Okay, thank you.
One other item with respect to the budget, and it's just maybe a little bit of wordsmithing to be careful. In looking at the statute, there's a provision that basically says that on the last day of the fiscal year for the Community Redevelopment Agency, which would be September 30 of next year, I presume, that you have to basically do one of several things with the funds or give it back. And you can't just have a reserve for future contingencies and leave it there at the end of the year, or you have to return the money. So one of the choices, and I'll read it to you from the statute, appropriated to a specific redevelopment project pursuant to an approved community redevelopment plan, which project will be completed within 3 years. Now, I think we're free during the year to alter whatever these monies are assigned for, but I think it would behoove us today to say that we're appropriating that $244,200 for something. And I know there's two somethings out there that are in the redevelopment plan that'll probably have monies spent in the next couple of years. One of them being the potential realignment of Geneva Drive, the other one being the master downtown stormwater pond. And would it be safe to say, Mr. Cobb, we can find a way to spend that $244,200 on one of those two things within 3 years from today?
I think we can find something on, yes, sir.
Okay. We don't have to really finalize what to do with that money until September 30.
Or we could
I just
spend
want
it
to
on
be
a
careful.
Or we
September
could spend
30
it on a
next year.
community center.
We don't want to get, what's that?
Or we could spend it on a community center.
We can't because it's not in the redevelopment plan unless we change it right now. It's not in the plan.
It's not-
It says community center in Oviedo in the park. So we'd have to tweak that, I think.
We would have to review the plan in detail to see if
So-
that could be
so-
accommodated.
All I'm saying is maybe tonight we just tweak that line and look for a little advice from perhaps Mr. Cobb or Mr. Groot as to what that line should say. If it could say general contingencies or, something to be completed within 3 years from today, or if we need to be specific.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Councilwoman?
I was concerned for a lot of the same reasons as Mr. Axel last year, and I don't feel any better about the way the law reads this year. And last year we had said we're definitely not going to use the CRA money to pay debt. Is that something that we can aspire to for next year at least, to stop using the money for debt service at Oviedo on the Park? Is anybody interested in that at all? All right. Well, that's my only concern, is that we continue to use this for debt service.
Okay.
How would we pay the debt service, sorry if I can interrupt, how would we pay it otherwise? Out of the general obligation bond, Jerry?
It'd be out of the general fund.
Out of the general fund, okay.
Yes, sir.
And if there's going to have to be some movement next year anyway, or anticipated movement, that might be an opportunity to shift things around. So no, just throwing it out there as something to ponder for perhaps an aspirational goal next budget cycle for the general fund.
Okay. Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Is there any issue with us spending this money on Oviedo on the Park, which is really the impetus for the whole entire CRA?
No,
bill?
sir.
Pardon?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I am quite comfortable with spending the CRA money on the impetus for the whole entire park, for the whole entire life of the loan, which, if I remember, was about 12 or 13 years. Mr. Boot? 13 years. All right. I'm okay with the rest of the budget. I agree with Mr. Axel, though. If there is something in the statute on contingencies, we certainly don't want to just leave money sitting there like we're saving it up for a rainy day. Let's appropriate it for items now that we're starting to see accumulations of dollars, which was very frustrating to this board over the last couple of years because we really didn't have any money.
Mr. Mayor, if it made the CRA feel better, what you could do is strike the words estimated reserve for contingencies and just have that appropriated for other eligible capital projects.
Mr. Groot, if you could make sure that that meets the intent of the statute and bring that back to us before, are we adopting the budget tonight, or are we?
We can adopt it conditionally on the provision of the revised language.
Okay. If you could wordsmith that language, then we'll.
That would be it. Did you hear that, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think, John, you don't have any problem with that, do you?
No, sir.
Motioner and seconder agree with this slight change to the motion, that it's adopted contingent upon the wordsmithing of the language brought to our attention by Mr. Axel.
I agree.
Agree.
Okay. There we go. Gentlemen, you can work on that. All righty, I'll go up and down. Anything else? Seeing and hearing none, the motion on the table is to adopt. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next on the agenda, Mayor Persampier, is the upcoming 2018 meeting schedule. The next CRA meeting is October 15th, 5:30 p.m., and the subsequent meeting is December 3rd, 2018, also at 5:30 p.m.
Great. Anything else, Mr. Jones?
No, sir.
Mr. Cobb?
No, sir.
Mr. Groot?
No, sir.
All righty, meeting is adjourned.